Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about why I think that liberal feminism sucks, also known as third wave feminism. This is my first real video on here, so please don't judge too harshly. I promise I'll get better with practice. I know that this video might get some hate if anybody watches it. I'm definitely not shaming any particular person. I'm just criticizing the movement. I have nothing against these women except for some of their beliefs. So, what is liberal feminism or third wave feminism? Well, um, third wave feminists do have the belief of equality between the sexes, like first wave feminism. But their big thing is that all consensual sex is good, and consent here just means that you didn't say no. In fact, they believe so much in sex being good for women, all types of sex, sexual exploration being good, and empowering. One of their big things is my body, my choice. And exploring your sexuality is seen as a positive in certain things that were formerly seen as negative, such as BDSM. So this differs quite a bit from first and second wave feminism. Hugh Hefner, the founder of the Playboy Bunny enterprise business, whatever you want to call it, magazine, is seen as a visionary, seen as somebody that helped with the sexual liberation movement, seen as a hero in some ways, rather than a pervert, which is what the original feminists and second wave feminists believed before. Porn, stripping, sex work, if it's consensual, meaning that you didn't say blatantly no, is seen as positive. Some popular figures of this movement are Halsey, Jacqueline Glenn, Lena the Plug. And if you disagree with anything that any of these women say, or anybody who supports this movement say, you're called a shamer, and they're not very nice to you. Now, to be fair, I can see where a lot of these people, especially women, come from when supporting this movement. I know that back in the day, like hundreds of years ago and throughout history, women were shown as not wanting sex. Sex was bad for women, like it was a men's thing. And I guess now they're trying to show that women actually really do like sex and that sex is good for women and good for men and blah blah blah. Anyway, I I mean this really does sound great in theory. The reason why I keep saying that people that support this movement claim that consent, which means saying no, is quite damaging actually and quite abusive and harmful to women especially, is that people don't really seem to look at the full picture. Women, especially that are working in the sex industry, whether it be porn, stripping, modeling, a lot of them don't realize that the majority of photographers, managers, viewers of their work are men and see them as nothing more than just a sex object. Another thing about consent is that a woman can be, for example, a woman in porn might off the bat get signed to a manager or whatnot that is probably a man, and it seems great and not abusive at all. But then they, in order to keep getting booked, because women are literally a dime a dozen in porn, they have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing their boundaries to keep getting work, keep getting recognized, and keep getting paid. And it might not be what they want to do, and they might keep convincing themselves that this is what they want, but in actuality, it isn't. And this isn't to say that women are too stupid to consent. I just think that people really don't know what consent is. This goes for males too. I know that there's males in the porn and sex industries that have this go wrong as well. I know for some women and men and whoever supports this movement um, believe that sexual liberation means to like try a bunch of different stuff like BDSM, toys, um, multiple partners, and stuff like that. However, I BDSM was created as men dominating and beating women. Um, this off. I know that people try and justify it and be like, oh, it's like just kink and blah blah blah. But if you go back to it, if you go back to the history of it, it's literally men dominating women. And I know that you can say, oh, but like, look, women can do it too. Like, there's dominatrix women and stuff. But that's literally just playing out a man's fantasy. And once again, seeing a woman as just a sex object and not being respected. Why I'm critical of the whole multiple partners things is that it's very, unfortunately, it is quite objectifying to women. Usually multiple partners, usually involving a male, means that a woman is literally just like this whole casual sex thing. A woman is just seen as a hole to put a penis in, and if they're with another girl, for example, and a guy, threesomes, it's usually just a guy's fantasy. There's absolutely no respect, no love, and I know that everybody's gonna be like, oh, well, they consented to it, this is just their thing. Well, I don't believe in using people just for the sole purpose of sex. I think that people have a lot more purpose than just sex, and women especially deserve to be treated properly. If you don't believe that people, especially in the sex industry, are used just for their sex and nothing else, just look at this video of Instagram model and former Playboy model, I believe, Lindsay Palos. I don't know how to say her name.
Let's go check on our burger. Almost done. Just one last thing to do before our burger's ready. Jump on the trampoline. There's nothing more annoying than when your burger's ready and you don't have enough ketchup or mustard. The first thing you have to do is shake them up really hard.
Would you believe me if I told you that she's actually a very smart woman who has a history degree, and yeah, nobody ever talks about that because they just see her for her body and obviously men, and yeah, so there's literally no respect given to her and her talents. People in the sex industries may feel like they're being empowered because people are complimenting them, especially like a man to a woman. However, they are literally, their bodies are being used as a product. And I don't know about you, but that really doesn't seem ethical or anything like that to me. Another thing that liberal feminism promotes is no slut shaming. Slut shaming being basically probably what I'm doing right now in their minds, is that I call out people that are in industries like this. I am critical of the industry that they're in, and I guess the whole thing behind slut shaming is that they want to take back the negative word that the negative word of slut to that men, I guess men originally called them, and they want to turn it into something positive, I guess. And here's my problem with that. Slut was a negative term given to women, and it was given by men. You can't take back what was never yours. When you call a woman a slut, or you call a woman a prude, it basically means that some women are fun and some women aren't. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that a woman should be judged on whether she is a is showing her sexuality or chooses not to. This sort of feminism is really harmful towards women. Everybody is all about, oh, a woman has the right to choose. What if a woman wants this? Blah, blah, blah. And nobody ever warns anybody about risks anymore. And nobody ever is allowed to give their opinion on anything because everybody screams, it's their choice, it's their choice. And I find it kind of similar to slavery, honestly. I do believe that the sex industry is in a way a form of slavery, especially to women. um, I feel like these are the type of people that if they were back in the 1850s when slavery was alive and well, that they would be like, oh, but what if these people wanted to be slaves? Like, who are you to judge them? So, yeah, this is basically why I consider myself to be a sex critical, sex negative, second wave feminist, because I believe that women and men should be seen as equal and not as just sex objects, and I really am against any type. I really do believe that the sex industry and the pushing of sexual liberation is not beneficial or good for women, especially. Um, so I would also like to say that no, I am not against sex. I definitely am not against sex. I believe that sex between two consenting partners is a great thing, especially if you're in a relationship. I know that sometimes things don't work out or whatever. I think it's a good thing if you're in a relationship because you kind of know that that person is um, wanting to have sex with you for you and not just because they want to stick their penis into a hole in your body. And I believe that really I know that in um in relationships horrible things can go wrong, and obviously that's not okay. I'm not saying that it's okay. I think that consensual sex where both parties are equal in the sex, there's no dominating or submitting or belittling taking part. I believe that that is consensual. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I promise I'll get better, and I will see you in the next video.